10th frame or to every 20th frame something else, suggestion, right? And so we're live right now, by the way, on the channel. What?
Don't show me.
Why not?
Don't look crazy.
You're not looking crazy. All right, so she said don't show her. I'm not going to show her. But yeah, so the conversation we're talking about now is the Mandela Effect. And what is it? Why do people believe in it? Or why do people associate it with alternative reality instead of what it seems to actually be a psychological operation, a psyop? And so what were you saying? So the whole concept revolved around the Shazam, Kazam, do you remember Sinbad being a genie in a movie, right? And so my point was that I don't remember him necessarily being a genie in the movie. In a movie, I remember Shaq being a genie in a movie, right? And so I remember Shaq. I remember Shazam. I remember Shaq. I remember all that. But I do remember, Sinbad kind of being a goofy character in the 80s and the 90s and doing a lot of crazy stuff, like in TV shows and all over the place. So I remember Sinbad. I just don't necessarily remember this movie. And so what Sheikah was saying, tell everybody what she was saying.
I was just saying that I remember Sinbad playing the genie.
Okay, so we've been talking about this for the past hour, and I believe that's really the purpose of this psychological operation. So Sheikah remembers an actual movie with Sinbad playing an actual genie. And then she just texts her brother, and her brother, like specifically without giving away too much information, do you remember the movie Shazam? And her brother texts back, yeah, with Sinbad as the genie. Mm-hmm. And so has he seen the meme before? Has he seen is it a meme or whatever it is? Has he seen the concept before? Or, because it's been out since, from what Sinbad said, we've been doing a little bit of research on it, from what Sinbad said since 2009. And has he seen that before, just being around the internet and just responded, not recognizing that he had seen it before? Has he seen it before and just not said nothing? What happened? Or was there a movie that Sinbad played a genie in that in the 90s or whatever that was just removed from all shelves, removed from all historical Hollywood, anything, and then Sinbad himself told not to speak about it? You see what I'm saying? So it could be one concept or the other, right? It could be that it's somehow you're remembering wrong, or that the movie did exist and that they erased it.
Right. But then you have to also keep in mind that many people remember both movies, both concepts, Kazam and Shazam, Kazam being Shaq and Shazam being Sinbad. So that concept, even the plot and everything, people are remembering this. So it's not just some mass
hallucination.
Right.
Mass hallucination.
Exactly.
So okay, so no. What I mean is that yes, it could be. That's all I'm saying. That it definitely could be some sort of mass hallucination that they've actually spurred on.
If they use some technology like we were just talking about, what's the name of that you called it?
Subliminal suggestion.
Exactly.
So that was the explanation for why so many people could believe that this movie with Sinbad existed, because what they could be doing is in the movie Shazam with Shaq, that everybody remembers, that is, if you look on Wikipedia you'll find it. I remember seeing it. What they could have been doing is that every scene or every 25th frame that they were putting that they put Sinbad that they put Sinbad in there so that years later they could come back and play this psychological game on everybody that remembers Sinbad.
Yeah.
That's complete. This is the thing about this. We were,
Yeah,
I mean, we
it
were
sounds
going back and
crazy.
forth.
It sounds
The
crazy.
thing about this is that is completely possible. That's
Right.
the funny. That's what's so funny about it is that's completely possible that could have happened. Because so if so many people are having this, because my explanation is that okay, yeah, I remember him playing a genie at some point in his career, right? He played a genie at some time, and being on TV so much, I could have pieced together in my mind that okay, well he played in this movie and that looks like something that he would do. So when I see the cover, I remember it as if it was real, right? You could show me the cover without showing me Shaq, and I would have said, oh, Shaq played that same role, not recognizing that this cover is either fabricated or the movie existed or didn't
Right.
exist. Yeah, I would say, yeah, that's a real movie, but I also remember Shaq playing it.
Yeah, that's if you were. Yeah, if somebody was just showing you the cover.
The cover, if somebody showed me Sinbad on the cover with this movie just like that, I'd say, yeah,
Yeah,
man, that
then,
looks familiar, but I know, but I remember the one that Shaq did.
yeah, so you can understand that confusion because you can understand that maybe you're just remembering it wrong, or people are playing with your, that's different. But if people are asking family members and relatives or friends during that era that they know they watched it with or whatever the case may be, and they just say, "Do you remember the name of this movie?" without seeing anything, and they say yes, and then say Sinbad Genie,
You're
that's
saying
not a
that's
coincidence.
you're saying that's a stronger method of suggestion than just I'm associating people and places.
Yes, that I'm just somebody showing me a cover and I'm purposely remembering it this way versus
I
I
hear
tell you
you.
the name of a movie and then you remember exactly what, because everybody remembers the same thing, Sinbad Genie.
See,
You can't just have
I
that
remember
name.
Sinbad Genie, but I don't necessarily associate it with a movie.
But people are hearing the name Shazam and correlating that with Sinbad Genie.
Right.
So how do you get thousands of people doing that?
Well, yeah, that's my point. You could get thousands of people doing
Unless
that,
it
just
wasn't
knowing that
something.
Sinbad, at some point in time in his career, played a genie. Like I said,
But
even
again,
if it
you're
was
hearing the
made
name
up,
Shazam and then coming
even
to
if it
that
was made
conclusion.
up, I would have associated. I mean, even if somebody came to me and showed me the poster and all that stuff, I would have still associated that movie with Shaq, but I would have believed that secondary movie was there too. You see what I'm saying? It would have worked on me whether the movie is real or not. It would have still worked on me
So
because
okay.
because I associate Sinbad with that type of role anyway because I know who Sinbad is. You see what I'm saying?
So
That
you
would
would
have
have
worked.
said. So if I told you Shazam, you would have said
No, I would have
Genie
said
Shazam.
Shaq. I would have said Shaq for 100%. I would have said Shaq.
Okay, yeah, but a lot
But
of
if you
people
would have
say
said, I remember the one with Sinbad, I would have said, I don't remember that one, but I remember Sinbad playing a genie role. Or I would have said, yeah, I remember that one too, because I would have associated, I wouldn't have not believed you that that wasn't a movie. The only reason why now I believe there ain't nobody on there. The only reason now I believe that it wasn't a movie is because Sinbad said it wasn't a movie. You see what I'm saying? And there's no record of it. That's the reason why I don't believe that it was a movie. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
And so that's the mystery behind it. Because you could for sure have some sort of, you know, technology being used that has caused this mass hallucination on this very small scale. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it has to be either either a trick, as in, okay, well, we're just gonna lie and say that he played this role, or it has to be a mass hallucination. It's either or, because Sinbad's saying that he never played this role, and from what your research is coming up with, lots of people remember him playing that role.
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't know.
Don't be shy. I mean, what are you being
Why?
shy for?
I'm not. I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's clear that something has happened for us to have remembered something a certain way, and there's not no evidence of it other than a bunch of people with the same memory.
Yeah. So what you're telling me then is you remember the movie.
Yeah.
You remember seeing the movie,
Yeah, I remember him. Yes, I do.
and you know it as a movie and not a TV show or anything like
I
that.
don't know. I mean, maybe I wouldn't be able to say for a fact it was a TV show or a movie. I just know I remember him playing a genie and some little,
White boy being around him.
yeah. I mean, I remember that for sure. Again, just like I said, there's lots of childhood movies that I've only seen a couple of times that I wouldn't be able to give you full detail about because it's been so long. But I know for a fact I've seen them in whatever. I mean, people try to say, oh, because you can't remember the kid's name or whatever the case may be. It's clear that, yeah.
You're acting so shy right now.
No, I was just thought of something.
Well, go ahead.
No. But, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's all the way crazy. And I do believe that they put that stuff out there like that so that you can have this conversation as to what's real and what's not real.
Right, that's
But
yeah, I think they want to, it just causes confusion or makes you doubt.
because
what you already know. We know that
what comes
happens.
along with it is this concept that there's two separate realities, and in one reality there was a movie that Sinbad starred in, and in the other reality it was Shaq, or there was one reality with both movies in it. You see what I'm saying? And this is a whole concept that we know is based on relativity, based on their concepts of science and what is and what isn't, and all, none of that stuff actually exists. And so that's also coming along, you know, with this style of propaganda is a false reality.
Right.
It is very interesting that they're trying to pull these type of games on people, because it's working for a lot of people. A lot of people will tell you right now, oh, we're the timeline split at this year. You see all those type of posts online, you know, frequently, oh, that this is the timeline that we're on right now. And I guess people get that from Back to the Future and all these other style
Yeah,
movies.
that's what I was just thinking of this, yeah, that whole Back to the Future type of idea. They want you to kind of fall into the rabbit hole of that thinking that, you know, you can change history in that way.
Right.
Or change these small details.
Playing with time in such a way as to be able to control your own destiny.
Control, right. And then, yeah.
But, and you can see how from an eternal standpoint, or not an eternal standpoint, but from a standpoint that, you know, is longer than the life of a human, that you feel like you would be able to do that because you're, you know, if you're, you know, an evil spirit jumping from body to body, from era to era, you'd feel like a time traveler, right? You'd feel like you'd be able to, okay, well, in this lifetime, I can do something different. And we have that, you know, that philosophy in, you know, lots of different pagan religions, right? It's funny to see the modern interpretation of it, you know, in these type of psychological, you know, quagmires. Because that's what they are. You just get stuck in them and okay, what is true? That's the, you know, the basis of it. Oh, we can't prove anything is true. I saw a video the other day, and I guess I shouldn't necessarily call anybody out or anything like that, but I saw a video the other day from a popular Hebrew blogger, and it was about time. And I guess people, if they know who I'm talking about, they've already seen the video or come across the video. But I watched the video and I was very interested, you know, initially when he started talking about time and how people kept time, and because there's another like psychological game that they've got going on out there with the lost civilization of Tartaria, where this older civilization was more technologically advanced than the current one. And a lot of the buildings and the structures that we have, you know, in America and in England were from this advanced society that died out. and nobody has any recollection of because they had wiped it out from a recent memory, like from the 1800s, that these people existed and built all these megastructures and then were wiped out in some sort of, catastrophe. So that propaganda is also going on. And so I forgot where I was going with this. What was I talking about? What was we getting to? But just the style of psychological programming that they got going on is wild. And this secondary one is kind of tied in with the first one because it kind of plays with your understanding of time and the things that happen.
You were talking about the Hebrew God.
Oh, yeah. And so he was kind of going into that a little bit, that you don't know anything about history. And not only do you not know anything about history, you also don't know anything about the time that you're keeping. And so we went into the Jewish calendar, which is got us now on like 5,775 years, something like that. And then he went into Old Roman time, which would, have us at a different, time than what was kept in the ancient time. And then he went to New Roman time and how, different people count time in different countries. Like in Ethiopia, it's like 2016 right now, right? So what he was doing, what I finally figured out, was kind of causing confusion because he wasn't given any real answers or, how we can prove the amount of time that has been passed from era to era, because there are those answers. There are ways that we can prove that we know the amount of time between times. But if you say that we can't, then it disproves a lot of prophecy, right? Or if you can't tell what time it is, then this prophecy about the Messiah coming can't be a correct prophecy because it's a time prophecy, the prophecy in Daniel 9, right? And so with playing around with time like that, the only thing that, that fails at the end of the day is your confidence in what you know to be true. Do you see what I'm saying? What you know about history, right? So if you believe that you're on different timelines, then you can't know anything about history because whatever timeline that you're on could have a different history than another timeline, and it doesn't really matter because you could shoot into multiple timelines. Then history doesn't matter, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
And so I think that's the whole purpose behind some of these psychological quagmires, like we was calling them, that it gets people to question, not just history that we know to be true, but the concept of history itself.
Yeah.
What happened?
Nothing.
Yael, come here. Why is he telling on you?
He's trying to tell because we had to take the Xbox off. We cut the Xbox off. We're gonna play a different game. He's trying to tell.
Just play what y'all were playing before.
Yes, sir.
So the point that I'm trying to make is that that when you play with time like that, you lose confidence in your ability to count prophecy to be true in the past and prophecy to be true in the future. So one point that I wanted to make with the Tartaria understanding is that there was a group of people in the 1800s that had the ability to build and, to build all these mega structures and had, 2,000 years worth of history of architecture that come from Egypt, that were slaves in Egypt, that knew how to do all these things. They were the Hebrews, right? And this is, you have literally Hebrew slaves building. Yeah, there's one person on there, shalom, shalom, whoever this brother is. But, you have mega structures in England. You have mega structures in the United States. And then you have Hebrew slaves that literally built those mega structures, right? And then you have a history of Hebrew slaves that built mega structures. And then you have a destruction of those people in the same time period. And then you have this conspiracy theory about Tartaria that basically goes over the same thing. No, it's these Hebrew people that were enslaved in all of these different parts of the world that had been slaves, that had this knowledge from being slaves, and just rebuilt all these European nations as European nations. That's what happened, right? It's a whole psychological event to get you to question, because all this information is out there that you can stumble upon, right? If you just find out that all of these different cities had undergrounds, right? Like Atlanta had an underground. They have a mall there that represents underground Atlanta. That, the city that we're from had an underground. All of these different places had an underground first level that was flooded over, right? And when you get that they're making dams and stopping rivers and all of these things and flooding places themselves, which they did, then you kind of understand what happened to that old world that they built and then built on top of, right? This is the old Hebraic America, right? And that really happened all over the world. That's how the psychology works, because you don't remember it as that. You remember it as either European culture, and then when you find out, hey, maybe it wasn't, now it's Tartaria. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, you guys, just a couple of thoughts on the Mandela Effect. We're talking about it live here, and I kind of wanted to get an organic conversation about it. Okay, you guys, shalom, shalom.